cut us some slack. It's our first YouTube live, but big thing we want to go through here is some tips we've learned along the way about how you can land a job or an internship. And our goal is to help you get them as soon as possible. And that's in our mind to help you get it before Halloween so you can go out there and enjoy yourself.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So really the big thing we want to do though throughout is while we're going to share some tips, we want to make the majority of it as interactive as possible. So any questions that you have, anything job related, please throw them our way. Just chat in the live chat right there and we'll be happy to answer it.
Yeah, we want to make this a live Q&A, so any questions at all, like Adam just said, use the chat bar and send us anything. But to get started, we do have some tips that a lot of students don't really have the awareness of, and it's not your fault. It's really just because it's not something that's taught every day. But when we share it with people, it's like amazing how it blows their mind and how they get so much benefit from it, because there's like all these little tips and tricks that people use every day in the professional world, but they never really go through that in college. And you're too busy learning about your major or learning about other things for you to focus on how to get a job or how to focus on engaging with recruiters. So that's going to be the main focus right now. And again, thanks for sticking with us early on. This is pretty hilarious to get this first one going when, it's the first try at it and it's really ugly, but this is how all masters are once disasters. That's one of the quotes that I like to live by, and, we'll get started for you. So Adam, why don't you get going with, right away talking about LinkedIn.
Cool. So I'm going to share something that's worked for me, but it's also worked for some people closest to me. So my sister, she just graduated from the University of Delaware last year. And as she graduated, she did an internship with Spotify. But at the time, she wasn't sure if she was going to continue working there or if she would have to find a new opportunity. So I said to her, hey, Gab, why don't you try it out on LinkedIn? And she, like any little sister, was getting a little frustrated with me saying that no recruiters or no one's going to get back to her on LinkedIn and that I don't know what I'm talking about. And so I said, hey, Gab, that's fine. Just try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does work, that's obviously a big pro. And so what I'm going to share with you is how I helped her leverage LinkedIn, how we have leveraged LinkedIn in the past, and how we've shared with students how they can leverage LinkedIn. And it's really is foolproof. It works all the time. It had my sister, she reached out to 11 people and 8 of them got back to her and set up meetings with her. And how it works is very simple. So I'm going to share 8 quick steps, and we'll leave our emails where if you just shoot us an email, we'll send you all this stuff, including templates. But it's 8 very basic steps that you could do tonight that's going to land you in front of the right people at the right companies.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 is you want to identify companies that you are interested in. So after you log into your account, of course, create your account, you want to figure out what types of companies you're interested in. Now that could be very specific companies like I want to work for AT&T or McDonald's or Google. Or it could be I want to work in a specific industry like tech or manufacturing. Or it can be I want to work for a startup between 20 employees to 50 employees. Or I want to work for a big company with over 10,000 employees. But step 1 is identifying what types of companies that you want to work for. Step 2 is finding employees within those companies. And it's very simple in LinkedIn to search for those types of employees. And the types of employees that you want to find are campus recruiters. So all you need to do is type in AT&T campus recruiters.
Right. So that's actually the number one thing that most people that are just getting started, that even when I was in school, we didn't really know, is if you're trying to get a job at a company, the people who are trying to get you that job are campus recruiters. They're college recruiters. So they go by the title of campus recruiter, college recruiter, and then whatever company that you're looking for. So on LinkedIn, those are the first people that you want to connect with at the companies that you're trying to get to. It's so simple, I know, But if you can just get that as your first starting point and start connecting with them on LinkedIn, send them an invitation to connect, it widens your network, but they're going to also be curious, how can I get this student who actually knows how to use LinkedIn to come and work for my company, because you'll be separating yourself from others. We talk to recruiters all the time, every day, and the thing that we hear from them is that students really don't know how to connect with them. They're always trying to connect with students, but how do you get students to connect with the recruiter? And that's like the number one thing that you can do is connect with recruiters on LinkedIn, just to start, college recruiter or campus recruiter.
Exactly, yeah. And when you connect with them too, if you want to go above and beyond, it's very simple. Connect with them, add a personal note, say, "Hi Mary, my name is Joe. I'm a sophomore at UIUC studying computer science. I'd love to learn more about you and your role. Thanks, look forward to hearing back from you." They're going to say, "Wow, Joe is fantastic. I'm going to connect with him."
Yeah.
Then once Mary connects with you, what's great is now you have access to Mary's email. So what you're going to do is go on her profile and you're going to find Mary's contact information. You'll find her email. And then what you're going to do is you're going to email Mary.
Yeah, and that's a key point too, is on every LinkedIn profile, it has their contact information for you. Mm-hmm. So you can look up their email right there, and you can just send them an email, using that contact information. I don't know if every LinkedIn profile has it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them do, and it's a hard thing if I'm a user on LinkedIn to not include my email. So that's right. You can get their email. Why do you want to connect with a campus recruiter from a company? Number one, the people want to talk to you. Number two, you can get their email, their direct contact information.
Right. And like Pranam mentioned, not every recruiter, every person's going to put their email, but that's okay. Even if they don't, just by connecting with them, you're a message away. Right. And these people are on their LinkedIn all the time. So all you have to do is send them a message.
Right.
And if they don't get back to you, it's okay. You can just follow up. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
So great. So you got their email. Now what you can do is obviously email them. And when you email them, you want to keep it short and sweet. And again, any of this information, anyone who wants it, just reach out to us and we'll forward you these templates that you can literally plug in. But all you need to do is in the email, say subject line, connected on LinkedIn. "Hi Mary, thanks again for connecting on LinkedIn. As I mentioned in my LinkedIn request, my name is Joe. I'm a sophomore at UIUC studying computer science. I'd love to learn more about you and your role in your company. Would you be open to a 20-minute conversation so I can learn more about it? Thanks so much, Joe." Short, sweet, and to the point. It's all you need to do. So next step, after you email them, just like you guys as college students where you have school and clubs and work and friends and everything else, you're busy. So are recruiters that you'll be reaching out to. And they do get quite a few emails, which is okay. And it's okay if they don't get back to you, because they're not getting back to you because they don't like you or they don't want to respond to you or they don't want to talk to you. They may not be responding to you because they just forgot, or they plan on responding to you, but you didn't happen to get, or they didn't happen to get back to you. We didn't pay the electric bill. Oh, yes, we did. Good work. So if that's the case, all you need to do, and this is where most people fail. This is where my sister was scared. I used to be scared. Pranam, I'm sure used to be scared.
Yeah, I was scared as hell.
I know, it's okay. But most people are worried to follow up. And the follow-up is where the magic happens. So, if the recruiter does not get back to you, all you need to do is send a very brief follow-up. And again, we'll send you this template if you want it, but the email is even shorter. Following up, I know you're super busy, just want to follow up to see if you got my previous message, best, Joe, and then keep the original message right below it. And just by following up, it's going to increase your response rate by over 80%.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so if I am just starting now, what do I need to know right away? Like, so you just went through everything. Tell me what I need to know.
That's right. There's one more thing, though, that I missed, or one more step.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is when they get back to you, you're going to set up a time. And you're either going to set up a time for a phone call or a coffee if you guys are in the area.
Right.
The big thing I want you to focus on when you get here is you're not in here saying, I want a job, I want a job, I want a job. What you are doing is you authentically are going into it, trying to learn about them and their career path, learn about their role and what they do, and learn about the company. The reason why is if you come at it at a place of learning and trying to understand, that representative is going to be so impressed with you because no one does that they are going to either hand you a job at their company or try to help you as much as possible, or they'll connect you to a role at another company that would be a good fit.
Right.
And not only that, but for you, you will actually learn if you want to be a software engineer at Company X, because you might not actually want to when you learn more about it. So that's that. What was your question, Pranam?
Mine is, let's simplify everything, because I'm always someone who's big on making things simple. So if I just literally want to know, okay, I want to know what I need to do to start, what's next, how are you going to help me at them, and what should I do afterwards and why?
Super easy. All you need to do is create your LinkedIn account, find recruiters, and connect with them.
Recruiters as in?
Campus recruiters, college recruiters, university relations.
And how does that, so I just type in university relations?
Yep, let's say AT&T. AT&T University Relations. Do we get a question here? Jason, looks like you asked a question. What should you do if they still don't respond to you? Had a case where a company recruiter asked me what time works for me. I gave him a range of time that worked for me and he never got back to me. Ended up messaging him twice afterwards.
Jason, do not worry, okay?
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, so this is what really is your first learning lesson as a professional, is that anybody who doesn't reply to you isn't anybody that doesn't like you personally. So I know you put a sad face up there, and we were all sad when we first didn't hear back from people. But in reality, it doesn't matter at all. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you enough because they don't know you. They don't know you from anybody else, that they just looked at your email, then they looked at someone else's email. You're just like everybody else. So it's nothing personal. That's the first thing. Second thing is that the more shots on goal, the more people that you speak to. There's a saying, if you play the law of averages, you'll never fail. So if it takes, like for us, on average, if we reach out to 100 people, we might hear back from 15. 15 only, okay? So 15 in the first round, and then we'll follow up, and we might hear back from a total of 25. But 25 out of 100 means 75 said, hey, you're not good enough for us, we don't like you, we don't want to talk to you. Okay, well, we're not going to focus on those 75. We're going to focus on those 25. And the key is, Jason, what you're really asking here is, you ended up messaging him twice. Two things you got to do. Really simple. Number one, message him again. And number two, find someone else at the company that you can contact. Use that energy that you got, and he might have not gotten back to you, or she, but use that energy towards someone else if they're not the one. That's it. The next thing you can do is just get to the next shot. Like we say, get the most shots on goal. Get to the next shot. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. And to piggyback off of that, and I agree with all that Pranam is saying, to give you like a real life example, for me, reaching out to a company that we were trying to sell to, and I was talking to an executive, and we had a great first conversation. We were planning on meeting for lunch and then getting together in the office. Every time we've met, it's taken about 7 emails from me. Not because she's mean or doesn't want to meet with me, but because she's swamped with emails. And after I met with her in person for the first time, what she said is, thank you so much for your persistence. Mm-hmm. I've been swamped and I just didn't see your email. So thank you so much. And literally I had to, every time I'm like, okay, next time she'll get back to me in my first email.
Yeah.
No, I tell you every time, it's like, what time do you want to chat? 2 p.m. on Friday. No response. I follow up, no response. Every time with her, I'd have to follow up multiple times. But now she's turned into a big partner of ours and is a great friend and a great mentor. And even when I reach out to her now, I have to follow up. But it's okay. So don't worry about people not getting back to you. It's nothing personal. some people just aren't as strong at their email too. So you just have to follow up with them and be persistent.
Yeah, and they might have just gotten a call from an old friend, and they were looking at your email, and now your email is read, and so you're not in their unread inbox, and you're gone. And it can be as simple as that. But you always want to just keep that in mind, persistence. But 2 things that you do when you don't get that response, Jason. Number 1, Adam, what's the first thing? Adam's always such a good listener that he really is, though. That's the truth.
I think he's bashed on me now. But the first thing is to just follow up and be persistent
That's
and keep
right.
reaching out.
And
The second thing, I'll take 2 because I'm a great listener, is use that energy towards other employees at the company.
Wow, good work.
Thank you.
He's surprising me all the time. Okay. Cool. Jason, gotcha. Thank you for answering my question.
And Jason, you know what you get, my friend? We at Door Clubs, we love doing giveaways.
Well, we were planning that the first person who asked a question
would get a $50 gift card to Amazon. So Jason, if you shoot us an email,
yep.
Shoot me the email, adam@doorofclubs.com.
Yep.
I'll send you over that gift card tonight, $50.
Yeah, to Amazon. And so we put that email in the live chat. So adam@doorofclubs.com. Send them that email, Jason, and you've got yourself a gift card coming to you. So thank you so much for being the brave soul to ask that first question. Mm-hmm. We really, really appreciate it. We love you guys. We do this for you to contribute. So thank you, Jason. We see your smiley face and we love it. All right. Before we go anywhere from here, we are going to take another question. So who will be the next? All right. Thanks, Jason. All right. Love it. So Tijan, is that how you pronounce it? Tijan. Yeah, I would think so. If you have the contact info from 2 people at a company who interviewed you last year, is it okay to contact them again asking about internship opportunities? This is a great question. If you have the contact info from 2 people at a company who interviewed you last year, is it okay to contact them again about internship opportunities this year? So great question to John, because this happens year after year. You get in touch with someone last year and you're like, hey, is this actually, should I talk to them after the relationship is over? I haven't talked to them in a while. Love it. Love the question. The total answer is you created a relationship, and so you absolutely should keep that relationship going. And the worst case scenario of this whole outcome, the worst case, is that you don't reach out to them. And if you don't reach out to them, what is the answer always?
No.
No. So if you don't reach out to them, you're always going to have no. So you might as well give it a try, so it gives you at least even 1% chance at a yes. Because 1% chance at a yes is so much better than 0%. So I love the question to John. You are a brave soul for jumping in second. And absolutely, Tijan, please contact them. If you want to know how you should contact them, we are open. So email us. You see our email up there, Pranam@doorofclubs.com, Adam@doorofclubs.com, and we will be happy to answer how you should reach out to those 2 people that you knew. Thank you so much, Tijan. And we have another question. This one we will shoot to Adam the Maestro. Do you have any tips? Wow, we have 2 more questions. Steph, we love it. And we have Jacob. So Jacob, we are going to take Steph's first just because we're going to try to go, whoa, we have Nayeli, love it. This is excellent. So we have Nayeli, Steph, Jacob. And we're going to go with Steph because we try to do, male-female as much as we can. We had a couple of great guys ask the first 2, so we're going to go with Steph's question. And Adam, I'll read this to you.
Okay. Adam, I can't read.
No, not at all. Adam, how do you deal with the recruiting season for tech? I'm feeling so overwhelmed and feel like I don't have time for school, practicing for coding, interviews, or life. Talk about another amazing question.
That is a great question, Steph. And the first thing I want you to realize, and I know it's really, really, really difficult to do when you're in the position that you're in, but I was just talking about it with Pranam and another professional who's been working for 5 or 6 years. And what you have to realize is that you need to just calm down and realize that it's nothing is too stressful or hectic or crazy or life-changing or anything that hectic. You have a lot going on in your life. That's clear. You have school, you have these interviews, you're trying to live a life and enjoy college. But what I want you to first focus on is how much you are already doing and how this is not the end of the world and how there's a lot more serious things that are going on. So first, just relax. Second big thing with that is prioritize what is most important. And once you prioritize what's most important, just manage your time based off of that. And if you want to do school and you have 2 hours of homework a day, prioritize when you're going to be doing your homework. If you want to do interviews and reach out to companies for an hour a day, schedule your 1 hour that you're going to reach out to companies from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. If you want to hang out with your friends from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., schedule that in there. But the biggest part when we all have these hectic schedules and how we don't overwhelm ourselves is by creating very simple time management techniques to just chart out our day. If you're going to sleep till 7 a.m. and you don't have class till 9 a.m., what can you do from that 7 a.m. slot to 9 a.m. slot? And if you just plan out your day, you will live a lot more stress-free life. So that's a big part of it. That's what I would always do.
Yeah. And I would add on to that, definitely the prioritization of it. But if you think about life, it definitely doesn't get less crazy. So the biggest thing that you can learn is what you're walking into, Steph. The greatest thing that you can learn right now is that how to prioritize your life for what matters to you. And life really at the stage of, being a young person who's incredibly talented like you probably are, is that you're going to have many more opportunities than time that you have to deal with. And so part of that is, how do I say no to some things that really don't give me happiness or give me progress in my life? And so in this moment, as you're figuring that out, the coolest thing that you're learning is how to prioritize. And that skill, believe it or not, is one of those things that if you start doing this at a young age, you're going to be so good at this when you're 25, 35, 45, when you're an executive or running whatever you want to run, that it's some of the best training that you can have as a young person. And like Adam said it best, just now you can learn out about what matters most to you, and for you, what will matter most to your happiness, your peace, your progress in your life, and then just focus on that. Make that a priority. The old saying is that you don't prioritize your schedule. You schedule your priorities. So you don't prioritize your schedule. You don't write a list of things and then prioritize it on the list. Before you even make a schedule, you prioritize everything. So schedule your priorities. That's number one. So definitely love the question so much.
It's a great question, and like Pranam said, if you can master it now, you're going to be so far ahead of the curve. So I love the question, Steph.
And to John, love it that you're going to email us. We look forward to connecting with you.
Yep. And so Jacob, your question, it's a great one too. Do you have any tips for selling yourself during a business lunch? And then how can I translate face-to-face interaction to a job or internship?
Love it. Great question.
Very simple. My first thing is be authentic. The problem I've seen, and I faced it too when I was younger, and even growing up and starting door clubs, it's really difficult to be yourself because you feel like you have to be Mr. or Mrs. Professional, say all of the right words. You have to pretend like you don't have any passions or interests or hobbies, and you become a robot. And what I love is when I meet with whether it's students or business professionals, and they're themselves. Like if you think about it, when people try to sell to me, the people that we will buy from are people that I know, I like, and I trust. Mm-hmm. And the same thing goes for a recruiter. They're going to hire you if they feel like they know you, they like you, and they trust you. It's impossible to know someone, like someone, and trust someone if they are a robot, because we are terrified of robots. At least I am. So my biggest piece of advice is when you do go on this business lunch is to be yourself, have fun. They don't expect you to be perfect. They're not perfect. they knew who they were and where they were when they were your age, and it probably is nowhere near where you are. So my biggest piece of advice is just to be yourself, have fun, ask questions that you genuinely care about, because if you do all that, this person's going to be so crazy impressed with you, they're going to want to hire you.
Yeah, I love that, Adam. And the cool thing is that every day we do have business lunches. We do have face-to-face meetings. So it's a great thing that hopefully we can share with you. I think Adam said it best, that authenticity, and then also just understanding, like, from your perspective, what one thing would you really like to share with this person? You know, do you want to create a relationship where it's a great business relationship and you can just know each other, a business relationship. You know, one of the great sayings that I often think about when I'm entering a business lunch or meeting, or even just meeting someone in general. I think it was a C.S. Lewis quote where he said that treat everybody as if you'll know them forever. So if you go into that meeting and you're trying to get something out of it today, which we all do, I do this, way too much all the time, to be honest. You should be mad at me for that. But the truth, the truth is that if you go into every meeting, your first meeting, that you're going to know this person forever. Mm-hmm. You're going to treat them with that level of respect where it's like, hey, I'm not trying to rush anything. Let's do everything on our time,
Right.
and let's make sure that this is like the right relationship where we both get something out of it. And in business, it's such a big refreshing thing. What were we doing last week?
It's fun. Yeah, we met with one of the executives of a big company.
Well, we can say the place where we are at right now, one of the unicorns of this world, that's a startup. WeWork, worth $20 billion. One of their executives.
Yeah, we met with him, and he was like, "So, what can WeWork do for Door of Clubs?" And then how I responded was, "Well, what can Door of Clubs do for WeWork?" And I wasn't saying that because I wanted to do some trap question or trick him or play any mind games. I genuinely just want to know, how can we help WeWork?
Right.
And he stopped. He's like, wow, no one ever asked that. Usually when you go into a relationship or you're talking to someone, have a business meeting, someone's always trying to get something.
Right.
And for once, it was like both of us were like, how can we help each other?
Right.
And we had a great conversation. Ended up being an hour and a half. It was supposed to be 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Super busy guy. And we're going to stay connected. And when the time is right for us to work together, we'll work together.
Yeah, but he followed up the next day with a long email about how impressed he was, and it was literally like, we were just being genuine in ourselves. All right, moving to the next question.
I think we missed.
Nayeli.
Yep.
Nayeli, hope you're still on here. Thank you for your question. Thank you for being patient. What advice do you have for how to prepare for an internship that is out of your home state or out of the country? So Nayeli, the most important thing, actually there's a few basic things. So very basic is get familiar with the local scene. Changing and moving a place, no matter how much we like to think that we are, able to be great where we are at home and then move across the country and we'll be perfectly fine the next day. It's not the case. There's a lot of things that factor into us feeling uncomfortable and in a strange place. And so definitely get familiar with the local scene, even if it's just on Google, Yelp, Foursquare, any of those things that show you some comfortability in where you're at. Super simple, but that can be really easy. Another thing is that if you are going out of the area, that's when you really need to zone in on what matters to you. So as we were speaking earlier to Steph, I believe, what matters to you. And by the way, Steph, thank you so much for your comment that, it was great advice. We're so happy that you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. But so zone in on what really matters to you. So when I travel a lot, and sometimes I do, I'll be in many places day after day. I'll be going from Seattle to Milwaukee to Los Angeles over the course of just a few days. And when I do that, I realize that all the things that I feel comfortable with that make me feel comfortable at home, I need to make that even more a part of my routine when I'm on the road. So whether that's eating certain foods or stretching or working out or doing those things, just those things that are unique to your identity, you have to do that more when you're going to a place that's foreign to you, just so you can feel that sense of like, okay, I'm still me, I'm still in my zone, and no one can ever take that away from me. So that would be my advice. All right.
Yeah. And real quick, the one thing I want to add is use it to your strengths too. Like if you come from Spain and you speak Spanish, use that to whatever company you're going to work for. You know, being bilingual is a great trait. If you're familiar with Mexico City and your company sells to Mexico City, use that as a strength. There are so many strengths that come from international students. And I think if we realize those strengths more when we interviewed, there is such a leg up. We've had a lot of international students work with us.
Yeah.
And their perspective, their outlook on the world, the fact that they speak multiple languages, it's a huge freaking strength.
Yeah.
So use it to your advantage. Great
The fact
question.
that they traveled oceans to get to where, I mean, it's brave, it's awesome.
Yeah, so use it to your advantage as much as you can.
All right, we're going to answer the next question, which is from Kimber Span. Next month, I am headed to a conference with a career fair, including 20 plus companies I am interested in. Would you recommend applying this technique to reach out to each of those companies beforehand?
Yes. I would reach out to any companies you're interested in.
Yeah.
So if you're not interested in a company, I don't really see the value in reaching out to them unless you just want to do it as a practice run. If you want to do it as a practice, reach out to companies you're not interested in. But if you don't care about practicing, then I would reach out to every single company, make it personal, and tell them why you're interested in meeting with them.
Yeah, and if you do have questions on this, feel free to email adam@doraclubs.com. He does this all the time for conferences that he attends, so he'll be great at that. Next question, Michael Zhang. And Michael, I think we know each other. We've exchanged emails. If not, it's nice to meet you. So Adam, why don't you read it?
We all know that networking is important, has always been an advice others give, but sometimes it doesn't feel very genuine. How can I network without having this feeling? Michael, great question. It is one of my pains, and it is one of the things I hate most about standard networking events. It goes back to one of the questions earlier it was about lunch. Was that Jacob? I think it was Jacob who asked about the lunch meetings.
Yeah.
And my response was basically authenticity. And Michael, that's the problem with a lot of networking events is people aren't authentic and they typically just want to get.
Right.
How you combat that is very simple. You just double down on being authentic, being yourself, and you also double down on how can I add value to you. If you go into any meeting, and really we are constantly networking. When I'm walking around the office building and I'm meeting people, that's networking.
Yep.
Everything doesn't have to be a networking event where you take out a business card that they're going to take and throw in the trash.
Right.
So my advice is if people are going to be fake and if people are going to be takers, let them be fake and let them be takers. You're going to be more of yourself and you're going to be more of a giver. Because the more that you do that, the more that real people are going to resonate towards you and want to help you out because you are so unique and standing out.
Right. And like we were saying earlier, that quote, really simple, just to calm the nerves a little bit and realize you don't have to have everything right now, is treat everybody as if you'll know them forever. Treat everybody as if you'll know them forever. Super simple, but it's like you're going to build a long-term relationship. Hey, I don't need anything from you right now. It takes away the stress. They're going to like it more because they're not stressed out. You're not stressed out. You're enjoying each other's company. Great things come from that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and also AJ D. Giovanni, thank you for seconding that question because that's always, we are glad that you had Michael's question and that you wanted us to answer that. Okay, and Jacob, you're welcome for the response. Kimber, you're so welcome for the response. And Jacob, cool, got it. And Tijan, this question. Another question, if you have time, and we have time, we have all the time in the world for you guys. This is great. We're having so much fun. Are we having fun?
Yeah.
This is fun. This is a lot of fun. You guys are the best. Do you have advice for convincing companies to hire international students as interns or full-time?
It's a challenge. It is a challenge because some companies can and some companies can't. So the ones that can't, it's really difficult to convince them to. But the ones that can, I would go about what I was saying earlier and just realize how many positives and how many strengths you have as an international student that someone who grew up in the US and hasn't left the US just doesn't have. Like me, I grew up in New York. I've lived in the US my whole life. I've done very little bit of travel abroad. So there's many skills that I've seen from international students that I personally don't possess. So if a company can hire international students and they can do sponsorships and visas, if I were you, I would just double down on the fact that you have all these strengths that most people weren't equipped to have. So I would use that to your advantage as much as possible. Excuse me, as much as possible.
And I think that's just a great way to say it. Like the things that make you different make you great in your own way. And like so, I grew up. My mother was from Nepal, and I was the only kid in town with a foreign mother, the only kid in town with a different name. But what I've realized over time, it sounds really simple, but my name has become something I'm very happy to have because it's so unique. But not until I embraced my name did it really become a strength for me. Because I always was like, do I really want a different name? Do I really want to feel like I'm not like everybody else? But the truth is, what makes me different is what makes me great, or gives me the potential to be great. Because people can remember me, people can understand that I have a different story and I can bring something new to the table. One of the big things is having that diversity of background and thought. So yeah, I love it. All right, thank you for all the love to John. Nayeli, thank you for the good advice. You're so welcome.
Steph, you too.
Steph, you too. Thank you for also having that networking question.
Yep.
And Michael Zhang, thanks so much for the advice. Yes, Pranam, we exchanged emails last spring. Thanks for everything you have helped me with. That is so awesome, Michael. And just know that you and everybody else on this chat, you're the reasons why we wake up every day and why we love what we do and why we, really just can't thank you guys enough on giving us the opportunity to work with you and do something that impacts you guys for in a positive way. So I love it.
And one thing I want to make a note of too, and one thing that all 22 people that are on this chat should be proud of, and our big thing is all around initiative. And it's why we work with clubs, because we love the initiative that club leaders and club members put into their work. Like, you guys have school, you have work, you have friends, you have a social life, you have family, you have all this stuff going on, and you also put time into your club. And that is great initiative. What you are showing with initiative right now is it's 8 o'clock Eastern time, almost 9 o'clock Eastern time, and you're here learning about how you can get a great job or internship. Like, right. That's something that you should be proud of, that the majority of people are not doing.
Yeah, that really is like the number one thing to underscore or to bold, to really just say, like, that means a lot. And you guys, and thanks for your patience, you guys will be successful, and you absolutely will, because you're willing to put the extra work in, and you go the extra mile. It's never crowded. You guys being here at close to 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night, trying to learn and trying to grow, you really should be proud of yourselves. Adam is right. This is what is going to make you successful. So right now, you should literally give yourself a pat on the back, or if you're with a friend, give them a pat on the back. Adam, pat me on the back.
There you go.
And you really should, because it's something that shows you're going to be successful. Just have faith and know you absolutely will be, and we're here to help.
For sure. And AJ, thanks for the love, and yeah.
Thanks for hosting this, you guys. AJ, this is one of the nicest comments ever. Thanks for hosting this. As someone who's generally anxious about career stuff, this is priceless. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, AJ.
Yeah, thank you. And Chris, do you have any tips for standing out in higher view interviews?
Higher view. So this is a it's kind of we'll give you the employer side of it. So, we'll be transparent. We'll always be honest with you guys. There is this tool where you interview and it records you and it shows you to like the employer, and it gives you some, it analyzes you from a data perspective. What are your facial expressions? It actually is a very complicated piece of software that can make a lot of assumptions about you based on how the employees at that company have had success. So if Sarah was in the accounting department, and if she was always, it had a certain tone, or her face made certain expressions, or she had a certain pause between her sentences, it actually tracks that, and it says that if you match Sarah, you might have success. It's kind of crazy, but it is actually what's going on. So HireVue, they're a new, complicated, innovative software that's been one of the HR products of the year now for the last 5 years running. I listened to a presentation from their founder out in Salt Lake City or Park City, one of those places. And so I would just say, tips-wise, I don't want to give you anything off the top of my head because every company kind of has different track records. But I would just Google and just look at like what makes for successful employees on HireVue, and what are those things that show well on HireVue on a general spectrum. And whatever, even try to get industry specific to what your industry you're going for, HireVue for this, what tips they have for candidates. Go on that, because I really, I will tell you that it is something you should know more about. It's something that we know a little bit about, but for your industry and what you're doing, try to do a little bit of research on it, because it could be important.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, to go back to what I've been saying a lot, is I would just double down again on who you are and what makes you great and what your strengths are. And I think it's great to research HireVue and what works for certain companies or for certain industries. But I wouldn't want you guys to start becoming someone you're not, because if you are, you'll never be the best person that you're not.
Yep.
Where if you just go into it and you're like, you know what, they're either going to love me or they're going to hate me, and that's it. Then if you get the job and you get to the next point, well, they're probably a good fit for you. If you don't get to the next point, well, they probably weren't a good company for you anyway. So I would just kind of go about it the same way you go about any interview. And my advice for that is just be yourself 100%. And because if they don't want you, then you know what? They're probably not a good fit for you anyway.
Yeah, and like he's saying, if you do go in there and you try to be someone else, you're not going to be that good at it. But if you go in trying to be yourself, nobody can be a better you than you.
Right.
And so that's all right. So Chris, thank you so much for that question. Whoever is still watching and wants to ask a question, or if you haven't already, or if you want to ask another, we are still open to take questions.
I'd like to ask you all a question. So we want to make this more consistent, and next time we're going to be on time with it. We won't be 10 minutes late or 15 minutes late, whatever we were. But what would you want us to talk about? Would you want us to get some recruiters to come on here? Would you want us to get other students? Would you want us to talk about other topics? What would be valuable to you? Because we want to host these YouTube lives that are actually valuable to what you're looking for and what you want to learn.
Yeah.
And as you're thinking about that, we can answer to John's question.
All right, so I'll read this one. Could you elaborate more on who we could reach out to for extending our network? Off the top of my head, I think classmates, professors, club members, anyone else?
So, yeah, mentors, and the way you do that very simply, the way I did it, I do a lot of sales, so I would reach out to people in sales. I have obviously the startup, so I want to talk to other startups that have grown and progressed and hired great employees and raised money and did amazing things. So for me, I have specific mentors that I want to reach out to that are applicable to me. Now for you, if you are a mechanical engineer and you want to move up the mechanical engineering ranks, it would make sense for you to find someone who's been in the mechanical engineering field and reach out to them and grab coffee with them, hop on calls with them, join groups on LinkedIn related to mechanical engineering. So find people and groups that are in alignment with who you are and what you want to become, and just start networking with those types of people. Pranam has a good story about MasterCard that you could probably share.
Yeah, so MasterCard, they are, what's really cool is that I reach out to CEOs around the world and ask them for mentorship and advice. And you would think CEOs, they probably get on average, I don't know, 1,000 emails a day or more, and they are super busy. And MasterCard CEO, since the first time I cold emailed him, what was so cool is that he got right back to me, and now he's a part of my network. And if I email him, he'll get back to me, quickly, and he's always available. And it's just such a great thing to have great people there for when I have some really important questions. They're willing to answer, and they have such great experience. So that was a cold email, but it was someone that I wanted to get mentorship from, and someone that I look up to and can learn a lot from. And you guys can leverage that. If you think that someone is, just because they're head of a department, that they're too busy for you, the truth is they probably will be so happy that you're a breath of fresh air coming to them looking for advice, and that they don't have to deal with all the daily things that get them stressed out. All right, so I'm gonna acknowledge a few things. So we love all this feedback from Nayeli and AJ and Kimber. Nayeli wants to hear student stories and experiences by field of study. Love it. AJ wants to co-host with recruiters and interview people in industries, get a sense of what kind of work they do. Love it. And a video on interview tips with recruiters, like how to prepare, from Kimber. Love it. Great input. Thank you so much for that, guys.
Yeah, we have some cool recruiters who are a lot of fun, who have great energy, who could share a lot of great tips. So
yeah.
we'll definitely do that.
So we
I think we have another question.
Yeah, we have a question from Steph. I would like to know resources for finding out how a company might actually fit you. I've been using Glassdoor reviews to gauge what a culture is like, but are there any other ways?
So, a couple ways. One, obviously, if you can do internships, that's the best way to figure it out. And if you're able to do internships, and I'm not sure what year you all are, but if you're going to do 3 internships in college, try to do 3 different types of internships, from size of company to types of companies, to really test out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Now, what you can also do, though, is visit companies. So if you reach out to companies, take an office tour. And when you take an office tour, you can really feel the vibe of the office. Pranam and I, we meet with tons and tons of companies. We've probably been in hundreds, maybe thousands of companies all across the country. Mm-hmm. And what's great when you do that is people can't BS that. The people you're walking with can. They can, say how great it is. But when you're walking around, you can feel the energy. You can see if people are smiling. You can see if people are talking or if they're quiet. You can see if people are sitting together or alone. Like, you can really feel what the vibe and the energy is like at the office. So if you can take an office tour, that's great. Now, the other thing you can do, and we've talked about this a little bit now, is talk to employees there.
That's to me is so key, because, how many times, Adam, let's be real with the students, you go and you talk to employees at a company that you think has the greatest career page, and you're excited about getting them job up, in front of our students, and it's so exciting. And what do you get from them? You get this, right? The eye rolls. When you say it's a great company.
I won't name the company. It's a Fortune 500. I sat with an executive, and we were having a great conversation, and I brought up how they can show how great and inclusive and how forward-thinking the company is, and the executive just rolled their eyes and they said, "I wish that could be the case, but it's not." And unfortunately, I've had these types of conversations with quite a few people and recruiters where they'll eventually be honest with you. And they'll say, "Listen, Adam, I know what it looks like."
You have had a bunch of these.
Yeah, it's like, I know what it looks like on the outside, but on the inside.
What's the next thing they're doing?
Oh, they're quitting. Like every time. Like
It's happened so many times.
yeah, then they're reaching out
We
to
go
us.
into Adam goes into a sales meeting and it ends up being 2 hours, and they tell him their life story, but also how awful the company culture is.
And how you actually don't want to work with them, and how they're looking for a new job. And the reason we bring that up is because if you actually talk to these people and develop relationships with them, they'll be honest with you. Because if you were in their shoes, you would be honest with them too.
Right.
If the student, you guys have a connection with each other. So the biggest thing is, yeah, internships are great. Yeah, office tours are great. But the best thing is just developing relationships with these people because they'll tell you the truth.
I have a question for everybody on here. So we want to be able to help as many students as possible with these webinars. What do you think we should do to incentivize students to join? Like, you guys were so amazing tonight with all your questions, and we couldn't have had a better first experience. But how do we, like, do we ask you to bring your friends? Do we ask you to, do we provide incentives, like you can win a gift card, like our brave soul who asked the first question did? Like, what should we do to get more of your classmates on here so we can help more students with their careers? Because we really, like, we're so passionate about this, and it's so fulfilling to us that we want to be able to add as much value as possible. And we did have, the technical difficulties to start, so we apologize for that. And Stephanie, thank you. Steph, thank you, or you are welcome. So any ideas around that, would be happy to field them. In the meantime, any last tips or wrap-up thoughts on what you got tonight?
So my last things that I want you guys to remember and focus on is to, one, be yourself, as difficult as it is, and it's something that we challenge ourselves to be every single day, but to be yourself, because like Pranam said earlier, no one can be a better you than you. So just double down on who you are, and whether it's networking, interviews, whatever that might be, just try your best to be who you are, because people will respect that and they'll resonate with you. Number two is don't be shy. Companies are used to being reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
They're not used to being reached out to in the right way by students and persistently. So if you do those things, if you are persistent, you reach out to them in the right manner, which again, if you have questions, we'll gladly email you these email templates to show you how simple and basic they are. But if you reach out to them in the right way and you are persistent in a friendly, respectful manner, they will get back to you. And then number three is also just to not be too stressed about it. I know it seems like this is the biggest thing in the world, and getting a job is. I don't want to downplay that. But I want you to try to hold the stress as much as possible and just enjoy where you're at. I'm sure the majority of you are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, and just appreciate the spot you're in. You're in college, you have great friends, you're going to school, you have all great opportunities ahead of you. And sometimes we get so worried, and myself included, we get so worried about what's coming in the future that we forget where we are right now. And it takes us looking back 10 years from now to realize how great of a spot we were in today. Mm-hmm. So just appreciate that and try not to let yourself get too stressed out about finding a job. Any last thoughts for you?
I would just share, and those are three really, really good things. Even for me, I'm listening to it, I'm like, yeah. I would just share a quote, which truly, I read a book called 1776 about the start of America during 1776, the actual year. And there were all these letters that George Washington would write to his wife, to his friends, to Congress, about the times when, like, literally they were on the run and they were supposed to lose, and America was done. And they had been beaten in battle after battle. And the quotes that he always wrote, the things that he'd always sign off with was patience and perseverance and spirit. Perseverance and spirit. perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. He would write that, and I feel like he was writing it as just a note to himself, not the person he was writing to. But the quote is, perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. And so, you don't, if you just have faith in the fact of perseverance, which on this video, you're showing perseverance and you're showing spirit here at 9:12 p.m. Eastern. I mean, that's the stuff that matters. Like Adam said, realize where you are, but also have faith. You're standing on a rock. You are standing on the rock of perseverance and spirit, as you are right now. That's an amazing thing. And America was built off this. All great companies are built off this. Your great future will be built off this. So that would be my final. And thank you so much, Steph, for being such an active member and saying, as to incentivizing students to join, I think it's more about getting door clubs out there because most students would jump at this. Doing campus visits if possible. Yeah, definitely. And contact schools or presidents of clubs. I'm the secretary of my suite chapter. Send out emails about this. Okay, so getting you to send out emails to your members. Great, love it. Thank you so much, Kimber. Didn't know you're still there. I love it. Thank you. And Steph, out there as a common name as well, well known indeed.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting us out there like a common name, like an Indeed or a Glassdoor.
Oh, thanks, Adam. He's a translator for me.
Yeah. Someone's got to have brains in this company. And then Kimber, that's great. And it's been fun. And again, sorry for hopping on a little bit late, but we look forward to continue doing these with you. And we really do appreciate all the hard work that you're doing. We appreciate you spending your night with us. And before we hop off, do you have any questions or any lasting thoughts for us? And if you do think of anything after, you can always just reach out to us personally. We'd be happy to help.
Yeah, final question or questions.
And any of you guys too, you can connect with us, whether it's via email or you can follow us for our Door of Clubs page on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, personal Twitters too.
Yeah.
We're just getting started with it, but it's an easy way. If you have a quick tweet you want to ask us, we're happy to get back to you quickly. So,
we got a new question, a brave final soul, Danielle Morrow. Danielle, thank you. Are internships or research experiences more valuable?
I wouldn't say either or are more valuable. I would just say it's more about what the opportunity you're looking for is. Like, if you're looking for an internship or a full-time position and you can get an internship in that exact field doing that type of role, that's probably more valuable. But there's also roles where research is probably more valuable. But really the way I look at it is it's not so much the internship or the research project that you did. It's more about what you gained from it from a learning perspective, your ability to share what you learned in a clear, cohesive manner, and also, most importantly, what relationships you developed, whether from research or that internship. Because it's really the relationships that'll take you to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it really matters either or. It's more about what you got from it and who you got and who you met from it.
Yeah, and I would also say that research experiences can be very valuable for if you want to be a PhD or an advanced educational person, which is awesome. For the full-time jobs and whatnot, companies are looking strongly at the internship side, and as Adam said, the internship can get you the relationships at great companies. So definitely do that. And Danielle, you are very welcome. And Kimber, thank you guys very much. These tips were so helpful as I'm a senior searching for a job. Kimber, we will help you get a job. Any job that you want, let us know, email us, and we will personally help you. There's never been a student that we have never replied to. There's been times where Adam and I have stayed up till 3 a.m. responding to 200 emails. It's just what we do, and we'll never let a student go unanswered or a question go unanswered. So, hopefully hopefully we can be helpful to you, Kimber. All right, any final questions? And Danielle, thank you so much for speaking out on your question. All right, we'll do a countdown. 10, 9, 6, 3, 4, 3,
7.
2, 1. All right.
Thank you guys so much. Again, if you need anything, you have our emails. Following us on social, super easy. Just at Dora Plubs for everything. And then personal social, Twitter, I'm Adam I. Rosen. Pranam is
Pranam Francis.
So if you need anything, reach out to us. We're happy to help. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for the great questions, and thank you for your great initiative and for working hard.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, and I know others appreciate it as well. So keep it going.
Yes. And you're welcome, Chris. You're welcome, Danielle.
You're
all
welcome.
right. Have a great night, all.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
You're welcome, Kelly.